want to get into promoter stuff?
Yes.
What do you have to say about promoters?
Promoters. Don't get me started on promoters. Now, I really don't know where the term promoter comes from. I mean, I do understand where it originally came from and what professional people in the industry do as promoters. But on the small scale of independent local bands, promoters should not be called promoters because they simply do not promote one single thing at all. I don't think I worked with one person who's a promoter who brought any people to the shows. They don't advertise anything online ever. Maybe, you know, if you'll ask, they'll put, you know, a little flyer up or something on their website. But, you know, they don't promote it on their online communities. They don't promote it in the bars. It's all solely on the band itself to act as a promoter. Promoters are basically people who work for a club and go around MySpace trying to find a band that will play for their venue. And then everything else is left to that band, because if the band doesn't bring enough people in, they don't get to play that place again. So, on one hand, a promoter schmoozes you, trying to be like, oh, you're so cool and you'll fit perfectly on this bill. And then as soon as you show up for a gig, they're the super Nazi, you know, they won't let you take your stuff in. You know, you have to wait with your equipment outside. They warn you if you don't bring enough people that you won't play there again, and they'll just make you feel really, you know, like you're a piece of shit. And it's quite incredible, especially for bands that start out, you know, it's crushes your spirit kind of dealing with these people. As you mature, you just know to go like, fuck you, promoter, you know, it's, I know you ain't doing shit and it's all my back, and you better be happy that I bring anyone, because your place certainly wouldn't have anyone here right now if it weren't for us. They also don't keep anything as far as a time schedule, you know, they'll just let anyone play and have setup times vary. It's, you know, there's no schedule, nothing. So if you actually have people showing up for your gig, which is supposed to be at 9 o'clock, they don't give a shit that they all left by 11 o'clock. And then you try to explain, well, they were here at 9, they were here at 10, but they didn't wait till 11:30 for me to go on. And then they're like, well, you don't have any people here. Really? So that's a big issue with me with promoters. They simply don't do what their title entails. There's been many like that. There is one person we worked with a lot, is Jimmy D. And he works at Palladino's, and I think he's been a local promoter since the 70s about. I've talked to older musicians who also dealt with this guy. He kind of looks like a slimmer Ron Jeremy. So very sleazy, very greasy, and you know, he's not the worst guy. I mean, as far as promoters go, he also doesn't promote. But he'll book bands, he'll put your flyer online, you know, your name will be in the LA Weekly if you play Palladino's. He'll be your best buddy on the phone. He won't show up to the gig though. I mean, it's been, in the 12 shows we played at Palladino's, I think he was there twice. But then he'll talk like he was there. And, oh, you didn't bring enough people or whatever. Which, another funny part is that a lot of people don't even count who comes in the door for you. You know, it's the doorman or the cashier usually takes down names for each band or marks down a mark for every person that comes to the door, but often they won't ask. And then they're like, oh, you had 6 people there. I'm like, yeah, that's because you didn't count the other 25 who came in while you were in the bathroom. It's a very iffy thing. So, yeah, Jimmy D is definitely the most professional of these stereotypical promoters who, another big issue with promoters is that they put you with bands that have absolutely nothing to do with your music whatsoever. We had nights where there were stand-up comedians, acoustic acts, hip-hop acts, and it would just be, you know, I mean, no one is going to build off of one another's audience base, you know, it's not going to happen. And that happened too many times too. They just don't even listen to what type of music you have, or care probably is the thing. As long as they fit a band in there, then they're happy. But what's the point, you know? I mean, you'll do better business if you have like-minded bands. That's why when someone like Jimmy D booked us with rock and roll and metal cover bands, you know, that was one of the best shows I ever played, because there was so many strangers rocking out to my music because they were of that mindset of rock and rollers and metalheads and punks. And most of the time you never get that by people who promote a show. It'll just be random bands, and they'll think it'll be so excellent because of the diversity, but, you know, in the world of music and people go to see live shows, they go see shows for a specific sound. They don't want a buffet of genres. It's not going to help anyone.
How about LTS?
LTS Entertainment, Teresa Tucker, super hot, very doable, but that's probably her best asset. You know, and she's really nice, puts on shows, but she definitely, her and her husband can't contain a show. They can't keep things running on time. Whereas if you have a Paladinos show by Jimmy D, or any Paladinos show, you get there on time, you play on time, you end on time, and that's it. That's why one of the reasons I love Paladinos. They have the best stage because it's so huge. They got smoke machines, they got lights, but you also know you're going to go on almost, you know, 95% of the time. You'll go on when you're supposed to. You'll end when you're supposed to. LTS, you go on when they cram other bands in there. They'll have bands come in that didn't confirm, and yet they'll let those bands play before you. So, you know, they say check in at 6. You might not be actually playing till 9:30, even though you're supposed to play at 7. So it's just a big clusterfuck with them every time. You know, you basically have to expect that you're going to sit on your ass and play randomly. You know, they might stick you in front of all these bands all of a sudden. They might stick you after all these other bands. They might just cut your entire set in half because you're the last band to play for their night before the other bands that are headlining the club are coming on. So it's just a big clusterfuck of a shitstorm to do anything with them. Then you have places like the CIA, the California Institute of Abnormal Arts, which is a place in North Hollywood which looks really fucking awesome. You know, it looks like a psychedelic circus. But never have I met more fascist people who own and run a club. first, everyone who comes to the show gets searched like they're the fucking TSA or something. Take apart everyone's purse. I mean, they took everything out of my mom's purse, out of every, my dad's jacket, anyone who came in there, threatening or not. No chains, no this, no that, like they have a fucking big draw to begin with. No, they don't. They have like no one who naturally goes to like, where is it, like Burbank and Lancashire, or I don't know. But no one goes there out of their own free will to just check out a band because it's basically close to a residential area. There's nothing else to do there. And, then they give you a big speech. If you don't bring enough people to the show, you won't be playing. And one of those cases was that Liquid Meat, the two-piece, was playing, and Alan was in another band, which we got to open for him. They were supposed to go on at 8. They were setting up at 6:30. The doors of the place wouldn't even open till 7. But since when they were setting up at 6:30, they had no one there to see their show, they got booted off after setting up everything and didn't even get to play because they didn't have people to watch them, which was an hour and a half before they were supposed to go on. And throughout the night, people kept coming to see the band play. And they lost out on, $10, $15 a person because of that. Even after I tried talking to them, nothing.
Did you guys get to play?
Well, we got to play to, I don't know, it was not the best turnout. It was a good show. And a lot of fun. And the few people who were there, were cool. And we got to play. But definitely, if you look at Fritz Montague's review on Yelp, you will see exactly what went down at the CIA. We shan't play there again.
Cool, we have 2 minutes of tape left. Anything quick you want to talk about?
MySpace, real quickly. I don't know who thought it was a genius idea that everything that they base a band on should be on MySpace and how many friends they have, which was when MySpace was booming. Every promoter looked for your MySpace and how many friends you had on there. So you know what? I had 16,000 people or more on there. How many people came to the show from MySpace? 0 at every single show. 16,000 people would get the invite. About 10,000 of those from LA. 0 would come out to a show that was promoted via MySpace. It's ridiculous. Now Facebook is there, and those people are really only your friends. It's not people trying to promote. I mean, even back then, MySpace was cool. It was not even people trying to promote on one another page. It was people, just regular people on your MySpace community, but still 0. So, and now MySpace is the most horrible thing in the world. Every page takes an hour to load. No one goes on there except to post their fucking flyers on each other's boards. No one messages you besides to promote themselves. And it's fucking bullshit, and I hope MySpace dies because there's just really no reason for it to exist anymore. Because it's all about, if anything, Facebook is the only thing because it connects you to people who either find you and add you because they're a regular Facebook member and they can't promote on your page anyway, or it's from your actual friend list that you created. That and Reverb Nation is awesome because they give you all the tools that any band would ever want from online thing and let you cross-promote on any platform and let you do every single thing you want to do. But fuck MySpace. And fuck Tom.